Texas Congressman Chip Roy introduced the Preserving a Sharia-Free America Act in Congress, and Jack Posobiec is a Turning Point USA contributor and former Navy intel officer. Gentlemen, great to have you on. Congressman, you were in law school in 2001 when this happened. Did you ever think you'd see Muslim prayer rugs being sold at the 9/11 memorial at Ground Zero 25 years later?
Yeah, it's unconscionable. 25 years has passed, and during that time, we have admitted into the United States 5 million people from majority Muslim countries. Islam is on the march, all in concert with their memorandum from the Muslim Brotherhood. 600 organizations, fully funded, CARE, the Muslim Brotherhood, organized to advance Islam into the United States. And it's not just Dearborn, it's not just Mamdani and the prayer rugs that are so offensively adorning this place that should be memorializing those lost at the hands of the Islamic fight against the West. But it's happening in Texas. It's happening in Houston. It's happening in Dallas-Fort Worth. There are 330 mosques in Texas. This is a real war, and you can't win a war that you do not acknowledge exists. They are trying to wage jihad against our way of life, and we got to stand up against it.
There are 330 mosques now in Texas. There are more than 400 in New York City alone. On September 11th, 2001, that number was somewhere between 80 and 100. So think about that. Jack, Rudy Giuliani was mayor back then. This was the scene in New York City last week. Zohran Mamdani holding a Muslim prayer service in a New York City park. So Democrats always talk about the separation between church and state, but in reality, doesn't it seem like they just want separation between Christianity and state?
Rob, I'm so glad you asked that question, because that's exactly what's going on here. If you go back, and we're rapidly approaching Easter, and Holy Week is coming. If you go back to the New York City skyline on Good Friday in the 1950s, what would you see? The buildings would be lit up with the 3 crosses of Calvary. That is what that was what was on the skyline. But if you go now, this is what you see at Ground Zero. You'll see the transgender colors on the Empire State Building. And honestly, we've allowed this to happen. We've allowed them to push Christianity and God out of the public square. We stopped standing up publicly for our religion, and we've put Christianity behind closed doors. And what has fled in? It's the LGBT agenda, and it is now the March of Islam.
Yeah, why can't they hold their prayer service, by the way, in a mosque? All right, you're not going to see Easter egg hunts in the middle of the road. That's what's happening in New York City. They're blocking traffic so they can pray. Congressman, you created the Sharia-Free America Caucus in Congress, more than 60 members now. But the Council on American Islamic Relations just labeled your group a hate group. How do you respond to that?
Well, I'm proud to co-sponsor with Keith Self, who represents Plano, or this ridiculous, epic city, right? Muslim-only community of 400 acres was trying to be built in Texas. I'm not surprised that CARE would do that. Of course, they've got in their leadership unindicted co-conspirators from the Holy Land Foundation from 25 years ago. We know what CARE's up to. We know the organizations that are trying to advance this, and they are waging jihad against the West. And if we don't wake up to that and don't call it out for what it is, we're going to lose our country. I do not fear CARE labeling me a hate group. I do not fear the Southern Poverty Law Center. The fact is, they've been doing this for years. The Red Green Alliance is an organized effort that is driving Marxism and Islamism to destroy our way of life. It's why I'm running for Attorney General. We're going to open up every one of the books for those 600 organizations, and we're going to take their charters away if they're going to continue this.
Congressman, any Democrats part of that group? So it's 60 Republicans. No. Okay. Jack, just quickly, this is a Christian country. Hopefully it's always a Christian country. But do you think there's a difference between crime? Because this is what Democrats say. Well, there's crime and Muslim terror. When insane people do something because of their religion, isn't that different from just crime?
Well, absolutely. It's certainly different. And as someone who served at Guantanamo Bay, spending a year down there and working directly with detainees, I'll tell you straightforward that it is not crime from their perspective. It is jihad. It is putting their beliefs into practice to destabilize our country, to attack our country, to attack our system of ideals and our system of life, our way of life. That is what they are against. They want to Islamicize the entire world, and they're actually very clear about it if you ask them in their own words.
We're not going to stop covering
100%.
this issue. Congressman, good to have you back on tonight. We appreciate it. Jack Posobiec, good to see you as well. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Information, truth, is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.